Mummy ji wala roles. What are Mummy ji roles?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No, Varun is also playing na, a young father. I said, Varun to has 5 films. na? And मैं ये hero and that hero and all those things, which is good for him. ये हो रहा है कि अच्छा Article 370 अब मैम article ये वाला करेंगे आप. I said,
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. I think it's nice when audience is waiting for you. People are waiting for your film and you make a name for yourself. That if it's so and so's film, which is very rare today. But be it a director or be it an actor, that so and so's film, we are going to wait and we are going to watch. Just one more take, and yeah, okay? Don't kill him. Don't throw him from the balcony. Yeah.
You are a very good mimic. That sounded so much like Ramu.
It did.
Right,
It did.
yeah.
Oh, Aditya Dhar,
I've heard the name somewhere.
the Dhurandhar of my life.
Hello, Yami Gautam Dhar. Welcome to Galatta Plus. Whenever I open internet and I look at, when I type out Yami, suddenly it's all news about what a great cook you've become. Cook.
Really?
And I'm like, people are talking about Yami Gautam's cooking skills. Like, what just happened? What just like changed in this conversation?
I have no idea about this, and I'm just wondering. Having a very hard time thinking who did I host or who did I invite, because the past year and a half has just flown.
Yeah.
Like it just flew for me. Being I don't know. Sometimes it flies. Sometimes it just stands still. That's the life of a new mother. So I'm wondering, where is this coming from?
So apparently you did not know how to cook, but Aditya is this wonderful cook, and suddenly you've started making all these great dishes, and then you're also a fantastic confectioner, and I don't know, like all this.
You know how it goes. I think it's definitely the word travels faster from one interview to 20 portals. So I think it's thanks to that.
Okay.
But yeah, there is a little bit truth in that story. But of course, I'm not been getting much of a time to spend with one another. I think with his Dhurandhar and my work, with whatever we are doing, and somehow juggling, but we of course are making it a point to somehow keep meeting as much as, even if it's for like 2 days, to spend time with baby, and so there is less of cooking. I think, and more of just whatever comes on the table. I think it's okay.
Yeah, because some of these interviews, like the way they throw up the highlights are funny, and I was like, okay, so this has become the focus of what this person is. And I was thinking it would be the fantastic year you've had with Article 370 becoming a theatrical hit, and Dhaam Dhoom in Dhoom Dhaam becoming an OTT hit, and all that. You would have had a great year, but this became the focus of everything. So
I think PR is strange, no? You
Yeah.
don't know what is it that works for someone, what is it that is eye-catching क्या बोलते हैं इसको, headline for someone.
Yeah, thumbnail,
So it's just
yeah.
something that you feel, yeah, this is what should be written about, or this is what should be spoken about. I don't know, and this has to be one of the most random things to read about myself, that I've become a great cook, and that's my claim to fame, I think, for the last year.
In the 60s, if this had happened, your mother and father would be so proud, because that was like the big thing for, the stereotype, the cliche, whatever it was for the Indian woman or whatever it is. So, but how does it feel to kind of have these two big movies click in their own ways in two different, media spaces?
Feels great. Feels, I don't know if validation is a very strong word or what is the right word to express it, but it feels good in the sense that when your choices resonate in that massive way with the audience, I think that's the ultimate truth. I think that's the ultimate way for me, a standpoint to kind of look back and maybe tell myself that, yeah, I think it's some not bad with choices.
Not bad, good choices. No. Right, that's modest. But there's another reason for congratulations, because we are in May 2025, and way back in May 2010 is when you made your debut in a Kannada film. So this is 15 years of Yami Gautam. It's been a journey, like everybody else's. But one thing I want to ask you is, what are the nicest things somebody said to you along this entire journey?
I think anyone that who you begin your journey with, and or whatever thought process you begin your journey with, at this point of time, I feel it's come back to that circle because it's all about those basic things and not complicating too much, which is really being true to yourself. This is one of the most common things you would read in most of people, most of actors or anyone's interviews, that be yourself, be true to yourself. But what is the meaning of this? I think I understand that now much better and in a more clearer way, which is do the kind of work you feel you believe in, even if you feel there are not many treading that path. That's okay, that's all right. And that kind of happened with my first film, I think, with Vicky Donor, where it was very unconventional, it was something very new, it was something very fresh. And so those were, I don't know how to frame someone, those nicest things, I think they're just in my heart somewhere.
Yeah.
Feels like you're here to do something different, so don't get scared. Don't fall in for any trap, or don't fall in for something typical that we see, or you may, or the perception of, okay, this is success. Carve your own way and explore. Just keep exploring.
So when you look back at some of the earlier roles that you did that were not the best roles ideally, and everybody goes through a kind of an early journey, how do you look at it? Do you look at them as very objectively and say, okay, I needed to get through these stepping stones, or some when they come on TV, do you like, please change the channel, please change the channel? Do you go like that? Are you embarrassed by that?
Now I have a fun time talking about them. Now I have a fun time, especially with my siblings, because they were, of course, especially my brother. He was quite young, and he said, "Didi, we were so excited, to watch that film, but that's okay." I mean, and my sister was in a different age group. She's like, "Listen, yeah, it was so embarrassing, Yami, in the hall," and of course, she would joke about it at that time. But my brother, he would be so excited and everything, and I mean, he would take it very seriously that this is a great film, Didi, and he would be the only one giving me this feedback. And now when I look back at that time, of course, there was a time where I'd be like, please, I cannot even cross the room where if I hear the sound, that film is playing, or some song or something. But now I'm okay. I'm absolutely okay, because that was also part of your journey.
Yeah.
And you don't have to defend it, you don't have to justify it, that nothing's to be done. I think it's okay. Of course, there are times where I feel, did I really have to do that? Why couldn't I just, like you said, cooking, pick up a skill, pick up a different skill which is not expected out of me, and work on that? But that's okay. I think that time must be different. There's, you got to keep the ball rolling, you got to keep working, you keep expecting, okay, is kaam se kuch ye nikal kar aa jayega.
Yeah, I think that's
you never know. That
yeah.
is the whole idea.
Yeah, the
behind
idea,
it.
I think, is that whatever you do, even if it's something really bad, you never know what it could lead to, because who might notice you, or whose contact you might get along the way, or
Absolutely.
something like that.
But I think my heart, I always knew that I'm not sure. I don't think I'm getting anything out of this, because, again, coming back to those initial days conversation, that I'll have to be true to myself. I cannot be following any formula, or this is it, or this is how films work, or this is how successful film works. I will have to dig in and find that path for myself. So there was nothing going to come out, and nothing came out of it. And so yeah, I look back at it
Well, let's just say you
in a
made
fun
some
way.
nice money, and let's just say,
I
yeah.
wish I could say that also.
Oh,
So that was also not there. I wish. So even that wasn't there.
So,
Which is
okay.
why I said I wish I could have picked up something, some cooking, some kung fu, some
That would be nice.
skill,
Yeah.
So no money.
So,
And no.
so Vicky Donor becomes a big hit.
Yeah.
It gets seen a little more like Ayushman's film and Ayushman's breakthrough, and not so much yours. And I'm not doing this as a comparison, because his career literally takes off like a rocket from there. But you wait for a bit, right? You're like, for a couple of years, there's not much happening. That success of that film, why didn't that translate into immediate success for Yami Gautam?
So that's a question. That's a very interesting question, which was once again addressed during the screening of Article 370. a well-wisher asked this question to someone, that how is it possible that we didn't see this coming? I mean, now that we're talking about her performances, or please don't troll me in the comment section. I'm not being immodest. This is just verbatim, or whatever the backlog of films I was coming from ever since Uri or a Bala or a Thursday or Chor or a Dhoom Dhaam or especially in Article 370, that what must have happened? How is it possible? This should have happened way back.
Yeah.
And there are multiple perspectives of looking at it. One, I have a philosophical way of putting things, that things, sometimes things, you have to let go. You have to let things take its own course and its own time, provided I still keep making that effort. I cannot sit home and wait. I did try, of course I did try. I tried, but वो try में भी क्या try करना है, वो भी figure out करना बहुत ज़रूरी था. At that time, I remember very clearly uh, the the consensus in voices from producers' perspective or directors' perspective was great film, great debut, success, great part, but it wasn't conventional. It wasn't, you were portrayed in a little more mature age than your real age. Your screen age was older than you. I must be what, about 22 at that time. And I did not understand what it meant. I really didn't understand. All I knew was it was a great part, same things, whatever they're saying, but just a different lens. And I said, how is that a hindrance? That means I have that maturity at that age to pull off that part. Of course, also that I had the Shujita with me, trying to get the best out of all of us as as a director. But that means, that kind of shows what I'm here to do. So why, I mean, I didn't understand the problem, I didn't understand the hitch, I didn't understand the reservation. Now in terms of, this is just digressing a little bit, in terms of brands, I think I had the maximum brands at that time that I was endorsing. And I'll tell you why I'm mentioning that, because that's also a reflection of how your popularity,
Yeah.
or how how do they see your connect with the audience, with
Yeah.
the public. That was appreciated a lot, and that translated into the other side. But the film section was, I said, this is not, the math is not working here. And this is what I would hear most, good actor, but that perception. I said, who creates that perception?
Yeah.
Isn't it nice if your actor can get into a character and portray that part? You test me if you want to, right? You audition me. I that's my job. But so I never understood this. He said, so of course there were people, I've said this before in interviews, but that's true, since you're mentioning, okay, you should dress in a certain way, you should present yourself in a certain way, your PR and your this. I said, but what more do I talk in PR beyond what's necessary?
Right.
What do you mean I should project myself in a certain way? Of course it's important.
मैं बहुत अच्छा खाना बनाती हूँ.
हाँ, मैं बहुत अच्छा खाना बनाती हूँ, तो फिर वही वाली बात, अरे फिर ये तो मम्मी जी वाले रोल्स. मैंने, what are मम्मी जी roles? What are you talking about? So I had a little hard time there, being able to express myself, what I want to do as an actor, and what are the roles I could take. So that's why my choices back then probably were not an expression of what I wanted to do exactly, but that was more of, okay, this is what I have and this is the best. So let's see what happens after that.
Right. So that's quite this one, because maybe I'm from what you're saying, I'm thinking that maybe they found it easier to cast people who were doing these ornamental roles, and because they fit the mold of what they wanted in a heroine. And maybe because when I see Vicky Donor, I don't see a mature person, I just see a young girl who's confident, who has certain qualities about her, but I don't see anything that is so age related about it. I see more of a character. So I'm like,
exactly,
yeah,
and that was the point.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't have that cell at all when I was making my when I was in the salad days of my career. just wasn't thinking that. I just wanted to do good work. I just
Yeah.
wanted to work with good directors, and probably the kind of films that were also being made and being released, and the kind of, and maybe getting success, were also in that tonality where the space which we celebrate now when it comes to female representation on screen or in characters. Of course, we've had some actors, female actors, play those parts beautifully, and them getting that success. But that success, I think, was very sporadic. It's not that it was in that volume wasn't there as much as what we talk about now, and the kind of roles that are being written, or I'm being what I see happening now. I think just within, I think, 10, 12 years, a lot has changed in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's just that you have to stand your ground. That is
Right.
what I figured.
But and I think another thing is also that earlier parts that women played, and even though they were good parts, they were still quote unquote feminine parts that were strong.
Yeah.
Like, for example, now, if Tabu had a big, huge, she was the center of Chandni Bar, but that's still a womanly role. Whereas what she's doing in the Drishyam movies, that's a cop. That could be a man or a woman playing the part, and Tabu is playing that, right? So
Correct.
now we've come to that, right?
Correct.
Similarly, Article 370, the role that you played could have easily been a hero, like a male actor. And now you're carrying that film with action and all these kinds of things. So maybe that evolution needed to happen in order for you to get the parts that
And
you're
that
getting.
is that suggestion still came from someone very important, from the team, that can this be either cast so and so
For 370.
for 370, who was a bigger name in terms of just box office, strictly speaking,
A
or
male actor.
a female actor.
A female actor, okay.
Let's cast a male actor, because with Yami we're not very sure. Of course, she's a good actor, but not sure if she can have the box office pull. Or but Aditya Aditya and Lokesh, they were very clear. They said, of course, if you want, let's, because it's home, it's family. It should not ever be, oh, because he said, although I don't have to justify this to anyone, because when I'm directing a film or I'm producing the film, I will never cheat. This is literally God for me. This is
Yeah.
and I would never cheat. I would never cast a family member, or you, because you're family. I don't think I have to justify this to anyone. You've proved yourself enough over films time and again that your caliber as an actor. But if someone still feels that, I will take it to that person, and let's see what happens. And that happened, and it just it didn't work out. Then it came back to me, and of course, then I read the script and I said, this is a part. I mean, this is I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but I assure you, whatever I have in me, I'm going to just put everything out there, and not let anyone down, not let your decision down, and justify me being there in every possible cell and form that exists. And then when the film was released, and of course when the internal screening happened, and then of course the word turned around and said that I think Yami I think was the best choice for the role, and now let's see what happens. And of course, then rest of course the film did well and all those things. So it's just the conviction of that those one or two people that it takes to change things around for
Yeah.
you. It's that conviction of that one person that can just change things for you. So in my case, be it Shujit Sarkar or Aditya Dhar or Amar Kaushik, but it's just that one person
Yeah.
who can look beyond what's expected, or beyond the norms of, oh, this is how we see a heroine today, this is how she should be, versus let's break it, and let's just reverse things and see what happens. And if someone is a good actor, I don't think there's ever been a time that it's been questioned after the film, of course, it's made, it's released, it does well. Then there are hundreds of people who come around and say, we knew you're going to make it. We knew it, that you had it in you. So that's also fun. That's also okay. And I never take it to my heart.
Yeah.
I know who all those people are. And I don't have anything against anyone. It's all okay. Everyone's coming from certain space. Everyone's coming. As you said, I think it's also about trying to play safe, which is also which still exists. That's okay. But we are in an industry where the nature of our business was always gamble. You cannot predict. It's very amoebic. Playing safe, I don't know, but where yes, certain returns should be guaranteed, especially when someone's spending, money and the stakes are really high. But passion should not be diluted.
Yeah.
आपका producers के घर गिरवी हो जाते थे, तब जाके हमें कहीं एक मुगले आजम या शोले या मदर इंडिया जैसी और भी ऐसी बहुत सारी फिल्में मिली because of someone's passion versus anything else. So while of course we have this new corporate culture and or whatever happens in a producer's room, but the passion cannot be diluted.
Yeah, yeah.
We need to get that back.
And I think, what you're saying actually ties into a lot of things. For instance, why even many established, confident female actors say things like they refuse mothers' roles because they're just afraid of the producer's mentality that that will become their kind of calling card. I'm talking till about a few years ago.
Yeah.
If you went to someone with a mother, even if it's the mother of young children, they would be
like for example, Badlapur.
Yeah.
Right? I was so scared. I was so nervous for doing that film. Of course, I wanted to work with Sri Ram, and that was my first association with Dinu. Because of this, I said, no, I'm going to be typecast once again. I'm already coming with that headspace where I'm hearing these things that you need to do something about your on-screen image. And now comes, mother's part and मैं क्या करूँगी? And then I remember those late night calls with the casting director and with everyone. No, Varun is also playing a young father. I said, Varun to has 5 films, na? And मैं ये hero and that hero and all those things, which is good for him.
Yeah.
But that's not how a female actor is. I used to have the same conversation. It's just that no one was there to listen there as much as now they can listen. I used to have the same questions. And they said, "नहीं, but ऐसा नहीं है." And of course, there would be 10 things in favor of me doing that film would be discussed, and that would make sense to me, which is why I did the film, and I'm very proud of that film. Of course, it was a cameo, and it was an ensemble film any which ways. But yes, there was so much stress. So many times in most of the castings that I've been part of, there's been so much stress that now when I look back, someone asked the question, what is that one thing you could tell your younger self? No gyan, no nothing, but just please don't stress. I think this really has, of course, who doesn't have stress? There's stress in every industry, in every line, but you're so young at that time. You're so vulnerable at that time. What I should be worried or concerned is how do I make the character stand out? How do I work on my skill? How do I, perform this? Can I do something different? Versus, अरे इसके बाद मुझे ये रोल मिलेगा कि नहीं? इसके बाद फिर से कोई perception हो जाएगा? How will I break that? That's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable, but it's unnecessary.
Yeah, unavoidable but unnecessary. Yeah.
Unnecessary because I'm wasting my energy. Something which should. So as collectively as an industry, as a community, this is where the focus is. Versus, let's make something fantastic. Let's make something. So while we have very fancy examples for the West, that so and so actors so brilliant, the actors, but their culture and the environment is so different. They don't care. Some of the biggest actors will have 10 minutes role and it's going to be talked about, it's going to be celebrated, it's going to be, even in award functions, they're going to get awarded.
Yeah.
Versus, अरे आपका रोल तो आप बहुत छोटा था उसमें, तो बस मेरा ध्यान ही उन चीज़ों पे रह गया.
Yeah.
So somewhere my own judgment was clouded with fear and insecurity and so many things versus how it appeared. So coming back to your first question, that and this was asked very often, by the way, that your Ayushman or your first co-actor, it took off. What do you have to say? What will I have to say about it? Of course, I'm very happy for him. But if
No, I wasn't asking about. Yeah.
No, I'm just going back to that time. I don't have an answer. I used to feel very nervous at times that I'm here sitting here promoting a film, but I know they're going to ask me once again because I've seen their questions also, and you're not in a position to. You don't have that confidence. Your confidence just takes a backseat. Back then.
Yeah.
Then came a point I was like, again coming back to My parents or my parents, I think my family essentially, you know, it's okay. You realize who you are. You here to do something different, and you stick to it. Now, so I decided I'm not going to say yes to anything if I don't have my heart in it. I'm okay to go back, literally pack my bags and work something in agriculture. We have a farming land, and I said I'll work there. I actually thought about it,
Right.
and that is when Bala happened.
Right.
And then of course things took a very different, and then Uri also released that year.
Yeah.
So I think when you shed off that fear of losing anything, that is when I think something will happen that will shift things for you. It's the fear which holds you back.
But is now the reverse happening with the producer mentality, as in like, अरे I need somebody to play a strong woman, Yami को phone लगाओ, you know, is that happening?
हाँ, अब मतलब it's अब ये हो रहा है कि अच्छा आर्टिकल 370 अब मैम आर्टिकल ये वाला करेंगे आप I said
Are you serious?
I'm very serious. Thursdays happen. We have a Friday coming. Would you like to do? This is of course hypothetically, but something like that. Ma'am, we have a cop drama. Ma'am, we have this. So this is another problem. Of course, this is a problem.
There's no winning. I mean, if you do that, you get stereotyped. If you get this, you get stereotyped.
So I'm not, this is not a stereotype now, but this is more like okay, अब ये चल रहा है, so let's do something like this. But you'll never see me sign anything like that.
You can cover all the whole constitution, you know, just like
read the constitution or
Yami's
the thriller,
body of work. It's like
or the thriller,
all these articles and laws and you know.
laws and crime thriller, especially it happen even after Thursday. But yeah, now things of course are on a different course, on a different path. And I always tell my producers, and whenever I'm reading a script, I said, please, for me, it's not important that I'm leading, I'm the protagonist of the film, or I'm headlining a film. Of course, the role is really important for me, but the script is the hero.
Right.
I work if the film works if the script works, and that has been my Bible for ever since I realized what is it that has worked for me. And reading a script, not taking narrations. I don't take narrations.
Right.
No matter what, I will never say yes to a film basis narration. That's just the way my process is.
Yeah. You know, I've always wondered. There was a time when actors and actresses used to work 3 shifts a day. Each shift is a different film, and even as recent as Rani Mukherjee, Kareena Kapoor, we used to see about 4, 5 releases of that particular actor a year. You know, like actor, actresses, the whole gamut. But now people all across the board seem to have become very choosy about the films that they act in. So there could be an entire year where I don't see a Yami Gautam film, but then something else happens later. And this is across the board. Why do you think this has happened? Is it just the difficulty of getting a good script, like you said?
Yes. I mean, I have committed to 5 films. I finished one of them just now.
We're going to talk about that. Interesting courtroom drama.
But yeah, I think now I'm looking for, can't settle for anything average. Cannot settle for anything just to run the course of, okay, you have to sign a film. No, I don't have to if I don't have my heart in it. And I think also the kind of roles that I'm trying to sign or I'm trying to do require a certain kind of work, require a certain kind of commitment, which you cannot, or I would rather not mix it with something else for the sanctity of what the film is. That's how I like to work. Of course, every generation, there's something new, there comes a shift. Back in the day, I think there was also a mix of a lot of things happening. There would be good content, there would be content which is purely just song and dance, and you know, you can perform that part at any given point. It's I mean, this is what we used to read, and we would hear you know, listen to interviews where they say there was no script that you ask for these days. Script कहाँ है, कौन सी script? आके कई बार lines लिखते थे, वहीं पे याद करते थे. I've heard of you know, instances where Dilip Saab also, they would come and sit, and in the beautiful handwriting in Urdu, they would sit and jam with the writers, from Dilip Saab to Govinda ji and Kader Khan Saab, and you cannot tell what has gone behind the screen. But that, I think that sense of culture is also shifting somehow now, where even the kind of films, I think, are being, at least being attempted to be made, need a certain kind of, I think, commitment, which I'm not sure you can just, although I think my previous one, we had a schedule for about like 40 days, but we wrapped up in 33 days. But yeah, I think now you can, even from audience perspective, there's been such a massive shift. Now they want to see something different every time. They
Yeah,
want to see
yeah.
something new. They want to see something, be it a new visual, be it something in performance, be it the story, be it the climax, be it something new will have to churn out.
Yeah.
So I think it also needs that freshness in the script. You cannot say कि अभी ये वाला ज़माना है इन फिल्मों का, no matter how much trend we still say कि अच्छा ये बना लेते हैं फिल्में, but अभी अब for example अगर गानों की बात कर लें, why we still talk about 90s or
Yeah.
early 2000s, because there was so much emphasis on the songs that they have to really work, they have to be popular. Every music shop would have
Yeah.
them, play all the time. So that was, I think,
And we'd buy it.
we'd
buy the
it.
tapes and CDs.
Exactly,
and
we would listen. अरे हाँ ये tape चाहिए, ये गाना बज रहा है, यही चाहिए mama. I've been saving money to
Yeah.
get this cassette. Now I think that I see a little shift in the expectations of the audience also, while a certain kind of films will still work, but on the whole, I think there's something, and so you can afford to, I want not a sabbatical, but to have a little gap if
between.
need be.
Yeah.
And but then when you come, you need to really make it worth and have that kind of impact. Then you have to make
Actually,
sure.
it works two ways, I think, because in the older days, they could afford to act in 5 films, and if 3 bomb, 2 would still kind of make it.
Yeah.
But now, if you're depending on that one film, that had better be a great
That's what.
script and a great
That's what.
film.
So
that's
I think it's nice when audience is waiting for you. People are waiting for your
Yeah,
film, and
yeah.
you make a name for yourself. That if it's so and so's film, which is very rare today, but be it a director or be it an actor, that so and so's film, we are going to wait and we are going to watch.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that's where the focus kind of is also, that okay, I'm saying no to 5 other films. I'm just doing this one, so I'm too much. So everything goes in that one film, and then let's see what happens.
So I think right now we're waiting for Shabano, which is like this Suparn's film. Imran Hashmi's in it, and news is out. And from your perspective, what is it like playing what is possibly your first real life character? Is it your first?
That's a very trick way of asking.
But have you played real life characters?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
See, Zuni Haksar was an amalgamation
Yeah.
of real life
Yeah.
officers, but not in one
yeah,
person
yeah.
particular.
But this is the first time I think you're playing one,
I see. I'll never. I'll always be in the back seat when it'll come to announcement and confirm and talking about
Assuming
it.
you're doing this film.
Assuming if I'm doing this film, then it'll be the first.
Right. So, what does it take to play a real life character? I mean, are you the kind of person who is going to see, like, tapes or videos or read about them and try and get their body language right? Or are you going to say, I don't care, that's a part, I'm going to try and internalize what is just in the script and what Suparn or whoever the director is has imagined, and that's how I'm going to present it?
It depends how much of the information that person or the character has had in the public eye, in terms of one is being aware of the person, of a certain character, probably only in photos or probably just in news pieces.
Yeah.
If it's an actor that you're playing, if it's a public figure whom the audience or people were aware that okay, this is how that person walked, this is how that person spoke, this is how there's something very peculiar about their personality, then that's very different.
Right.
But it's still a very fine balance between embodying their essence versus mimicking.
Yeah.
It is not mimicking at all. That's a byproduct, that you're trying to create a look which resembles somebody, which reminds you of someone. But when there is very limited information available in the public, not just in public domain, but otherwise also, then it's a thinker.
Okay.
Then it's also a thinker. Then you have a canvas where, basis on what information you have, you go backwards and you try and imagine what that person would have been in real life at a certain point of time.
Nice.
That is what I did. That is how I would approach
If such a role came your way.
if such a role
Yeah.
came my way.
I mean, it's all over the place. Okay, whatever. So this is,
Some things I think it's nice not to change.
No, the only
between
reason I'm
the-
asking you this question is because I verified and it's out there in a dozen newspapers already. So it's not like Imran Hashmi started shooting for this film and all that. So, but I'm not asking you to confirm or deny anything.
No,
Yeah,
also, of course, when you associate yourself with the film, of course, you're so excited to talk about it. So much you want to talk about it, but you want to do it obviously the right
the right
way.
time, yeah.
But I also know who I'm talking to, and I would trust the person's sensibilities and aesthetics to how gracefully you put something in words, and we answer, be it in assumptions or in whatever way, and give that dignity to both the sides.
When Kabul came your way, I think it was your highest profile film. It had Hrithik Roshan opposite it. Again, that's a film. Tell me the reason you said yes to the film. Is it again something that you said, this is going to be a big success? Is that the reason? Or is it also, even when such a big offer came your way, did you all still say, do I want to play this part? Does this resonate with me? Those kinds of questions also came into the mix.
There were a lot of thoughts, but all those thoughts led to an absolute yes to Kabul. I loved my part. I loved the story. I read the script, and of course, to get a chance and opportunity to work with such a massive, not just a massive star like Hrithik, but he's also, I think, a very fine actor. There's nothing wrong that you would assume would go with a collaboration like that, and it's big. It's all the people, and it's the whole team that you've probably wished once upon a time that you get a collaboration like this, and a substantial part to play, which is not just again ornamental, or not just you can be replaced if not her. Of course, anyone can be replaced by someone else, but you know what I mean. I auditioned for that part. They saw my tape, and I performed, and I thought this is also at the same time a great opportunity to do something different to visually impaired people, and how is their life going to be, and how are they just as beings, and then what happens in their life and the consequences. And so I was nervous, of course, which I still get. I really get nervous before any film that I start, but I was so excited. I was like, I'm going to do my best. I was taking, even before the film started, just on my own, I called my choreographer friend and I said, could you just help me? And she's the only person I told outside family that I've got this film and there's a little dance sequence, and could you help me learn tango? I don't even know what the choreography is going to be.
Yeah.
And then you have to be visually impaired, and I would just take classes on my own. I figured a tutor to help me with nuances and this and that, and just really excited.
You've often said that film is a director's medium, and the directors that you worked with have shaped your craft a great deal. Can you get a little more specific and maybe take 5 directors and tell me, this is what I learned from this person, this is what I learned from this person, or this is, just so we kind of get to how you got formed as today?
Barring 2 directors, I have worked with almost new directors or second-time filmmakers all my life till today. I have conditioned myself, right? If I, of course, I'm going to name certain directors, but today, the way I work, of course, I fall back on my director, but I also rely a lot on my instinct, on my own instinct and my own understanding of what I feel is my character, and not just my character, but just overall the film. So I have a certain perspective of my own, which I share with the director on a very regular basis at odd hours on voice notes. Notes and notes and notes. And of course, all this has come from an amalgamation and understanding of having worked with certain directors.
Right.
And of course, I'll always begin my answer with Shujit Sarkar. Shujit Da is a man of very few words. He's not someone who would say too many things in one go. So you have to really understand what he wants, and you will understand that once you kind of have that journey with him. Because for Vicky Donor, the amount of workshops we did, or rehearsals or readings, we were really prepped for that film, and that is my first lesson, that your homework and the prep that you do for a film, that is really essential and non-negotiable. And your diction, your voice modulation, your and I remember there was this scene in the restaurant in Vicky Donor where we were on a date, Vicky and I, in a mall, and I must be doing my hair and makeup checks, which is what we do, right, before a scene. And I must be doing it before every take. Probably I didn't realize it. But by the end of it, we used to always sit again, post pack up at night and rehearse what's going to come the next day. Dada was like, you should let go, Yami. You should let go. You should not be so concerned about, okay, how am I looking and how am I this? Okay. And I didn't really get that, because I'm like, but Dada, we are working for the screen ना, अगर ये बाल ठीक नहीं हुए या makeup ठीक नहीं हुआ, तो फिर I was so concerned कि you telling me I should not look at the mirror? He's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying you have to let go. Once you think you're set and you're ready to go, you should just let go. Don't be conscious. My heart broke a little bit, because I thought, oh my God, I'll never be able to look at mirror in front of Dada. At least I have to sneak in somewhere, put mirror somewhere, and I still want to look at myself. But all those things, life come again. They were gems. They were small. It's all those details.
Yeah.
It's never that one big gyan or advice. It's always in those small details and those things. So that with Shujit Da. Sriram Raghavan is again a man of fewer words, even fewer words. He would sit.
Unless you talk to him about films, then he talks.
Then he talks.
Yeah.
Then he talks. Otherwise, sometimes I wouldn't even know where Sriram, where Sir is, where he is. I just didn't know. He was in the boot of the car where the first sequence is. I didn't even know. He's just somehow made, almost like coiled himself in that small little space and just lying down there. And would give you some of the most violent ideas in that calm space, that this is how I want the action to be, or this is how I want things to be. And one of those few films again where there wasn't full script, there was a screenplay that was shared of about 27 pages. I said, is this for me? He said, no, this is for everyone, because that is how he works. We work on the dialogues then, and then he sits with the actors. And I remember we sat before the scenes and we worked on the lines, what we feel for the character. So again, that was a very different exercise for me. One film, one director, everything was there on paper, and the other one was we were that school of thought. We were working on the lines, and that was also something very new. And again, someone who likes things very natural, likes things just flowing. I remember in that cafeteria scene, I don't know if you remember, me and Varun, we are talking, and I've shared this before, but I can never get over this. I had lines from Shakespeare that my character is signs off. That's how the scene ends. And we did the scene, and Varun, we did the rehearsal, and Varun was like, I'll just come back. And he's out. And we can see him through the glass door that he's on a phone call. Now the shot's ready. And Anil sir, our DOP, Anil Mehta, brilliant too. We would hear Anil sir more than Sriram sir's voice, and be like, "Kaha hai Varun? Bulao, shots ready." And we assuming there must be something really a personal emergency. Otherwise, of course, the shots ready and everything. And he's there. He's telling everyone, "I'm just coming." Finally, Varun comes. We start the scene. The scene's done. I say my lines, and it's supposed to be a cut. but they cannot be a cut because Varun just prompted and come up with some shero shairi, some lines that he was taking from a writer. And I'm sure Sriram, I think he fell from the chair, but he didn't say anything. He didn't show. He just asked him that. I'm not even sure he asked him anything. He just let it be. He didn't say cut. He just let him do what he wanted to do, and of course the edit was cut. But the fact that there was no such, it was okay.
Yeah,
He just,
it's almost like theatre in a way. Yeah,
he's like, that's okay, that's fine. So so I thought that was very, very interesting. Ramu sir, Ram Gopal Verma. I know that's a film which didn't work at the box office. I'm talking about Sarkar 3, and that's okay. That's fine. But that's still Ramu sir. And so many directors, most of the directors I've worked with, or even if I've not worked with, but your senior DOPs and technicians today, they've all been worked with him at some point of life and learned. A part of him is always there in their work. And so when I got that opportunity, I was told by, of course, a lot of people that I just finished shooting for Kabul. That, are you sure you want to do this? Because you must wait for Kabul. You know how it goes. You must wait for Kabul to release, and you're going to be flooded with offers. And I said, there's certain things in life which you just want to do. And I really want to work with Ramu sir. There was no script. Again, there was more of narration. And I said, sir, I want to read the script. And he said, trust me, that's the way I work. But I assure you that you won't regret this. It's fine. This is the character and this is the world. And you've seen Sarkar and Sarkar too. And this is... So I said, that's okay. I'll go with the flow. Again, someone extremely patient. There's a situation that came that happened with a co-actor of mine. No, of course, no names taken here. But that character was supposed to be drunk in the scene, and I don't think Ramu sir was aware or made aware of it. And that actor was doing everything in his best, to make it authentic, to make it work. And different actors have different their own styles and approach, and must have had a little bit of alcohol. Right, but you don't, obviously, you wouldn't have realized that it was taking longer, to get the right part, and it was a very small scene. And I think, getting somewhere a little impatient because I was not understanding that what was happening. And I'm sure Ramu sir would have seen my expression, and everyone kind of figured out, right? And that person was trying to do his best, and the intention was that.
Yeah.
And he called me and he said, Yami, now I think this is the situation. The person has consumed, little alcohol just to get the scene right. Don't you worry. Just give me one more take, and I will use this expression and dub it with a straight voice. That voice and this expression, correct, perfect scene.
You are a very good mimic. That sounded so much like Ramu.
It did.
Right.
It did.
Yeah.
So just one more take, and okay. Don't kill him. Don't throw him from the balcony. Yeah. So, so I said, and I'm like, and I was just amazed. Of course, the actor later, he was feeling very sorry. He was very sweet, very, very sweet guy. And but that was not the point. The point was, as a director, there was no chaos. Anyone else whom I've worked with, certain directors, they would just maybe throw things, or next day there would be some cheap tabloid about certain actors, and they could make something really ridiculous and something really frivolous out of this as a news, right? As a gossip column news, because that was happening a lot at that time. And he said, no, that's okay. So a solution oriented mind, and I thought that was, of course, beyond all the things, apart from all the things that we know of Ramu sir. So I thought I was really amazed. Not an iota of anger or nothing. Just one more take and we have it. And I said, so that. Amar Kaushik, again, he's someone with whom the heartland stories, I think, come very naturally. He's, if Bala, I think, I will always thank him for giving me a role which was absolute, a reverse casting is what we call, and giving me a part where I'm sure, and because a lot of people said that verbatim and could tell that, no, how can she do comedy? Oh, it's not possible. She's so serious. Again, image,
Yeah.
perception. She's so serious. She's so this. Like, no, but we just read it. He just asked me to read a scene. It was not really an audition, but he asked me to read some lines, and I read, and I just, I said in a certain way. I improvised a little bit, and he really liked it. And he said, with Amar, it's like one of those directors again who will make you reach the correct sur of your character, or which how much ever is required, and that's it. I think he gets the pulse of the audience really well, so you know you can fall back on him when it comes to performance, when it comes to that balance between um, okay, because something as pari or something can go an absolute different direction if not done correct. So you have to, it's neither, it is filmy, but yet at the same time it has to be realistic.
Yeah.
So, and I think he gets that really well.
Yeah.
And I don't know how easy it would have been for me to trust with anybody else with that kind of perspective or performance to execute. So definitely I think Amar for that. And Aditya Dhar.
I've heard the name somewhere.
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know why people keep talking about him. I think a lot. The Dhurandhar of my life. Aditya, again, as a director, someone who really believes in prep, someone who really believes in as much he can give to the writing part. Of course, you're welcome to improvise, but his script is nearly perfect. Is always. I've read. I've worked on Uri. I've worked on Dhoom Dhaam. I've worked on 370. Read Dhurandhar and his other work. The script is are really sacred for him. There is no shortcut there. There's no like, oh, I have to get it approved by the studio. I have to get it approved by someone. Let me just give this and pir,
Yeah.
karte hain, or let me. He'll never approach anyone with just something half baked. He'll give it his all out. He'll have a Bible ready. He'll have everything ready that you would want to see the world that he'll present to you. So that detailed his script work is, and his dialogues. And one of the most important things that I've learned from Aditya, which again comes back to playing a real life character or fictional, that of course we sometimes we have to lean on external sources when it comes to researching
Yeah.
or anything that you're not aware of. But a good script will have most of your answers. So you all you have to do is keep reading it again and again and again and again till the time you are tired that I know on page number 68 this is what is coming, on 89 that character is going to say this line, and with a pause. So that thorough you have to be with your script.
Coming back to the last director that you mentioned, when two people are in the same field, it's inevitable that even if you try to avoid shop talk, some amount of it is going to happen. I mean, even if you say, yes, I'm not going to talk about this at all. So in those interactions, how has he influenced you in terms of being an actor? How have you influenced him in terms of being a director? And how both of you influenced each other in terms of viewing films and being around films?
We love talking about films. We love talking.
Oh, so you don't have that when we go home we should not talk shop and all that kind of stuff?
No, we don't have any set rules. I
Okay.
mean, of course, there are moments that now that we are parents, there is no time. But in those moments also, if there's something that I want to discuss or he wants to discuss, we end up, we talk.
Yeah.
We absolutely, he hasn't read any of my scripts. He doesn't read my scripts. I've read his. and whether I'm a part of it or not. And he has he's had a great influence on me on my perspective as an actor, because he keeps telling me that, Yami, you are a director's actor. At the same time, you must think like a director yourself, right? So when I work in a film, as I said, I'm not just, and I'm genuinely interested to what's happening beyond the set. How is the music going to come like? How's the editing going to happen? I'm not going to tell anyone to do their job. That's not my
Yeah.
expertise. That's not my business. But I do have a take. I do. I tell all my directors. I was telling Suparna. I tell everyone, Bezad, everyone that you have a AD in me. Okay, so anytime you want to discuss anything, I'm there, right? I'm there anytime.
Right.
And I enjoy this process. I love sitting on scripts and keep working on drafts after drafts. And there are actors whom I've heard this is how they work. And when I used to read about them, I used to hear about them, I used to always wonder, how does it happen? How can one have the understanding as an actor of, or an ability to work on lines, to work on ideas, or how about this kind of music? How about this kind of reference? Or how? But I think the answer lies that it all depends from you. It all depends on you. It all comes from within you. So if you have that passion, if you have that interest, which I do, for me it's really important. It's not about I've played my part, done my job well, and that's it. That's also okay. If you're just okay with that, there's nothing right or wrong. But I really want the film to come out in its best form, in its best way, and then present it to the audience. And if it means another hand, another helping hand, it needs another perspective, why not? As I said, of late, I've only been working with young minds, with new technicians who have such fresh ideas and fresh takes. There's a beauty which lies with an experienced, of course,
Yeah.
mind, right, with a director. So both somewhere we try and find a balance that, okay, I may not be working with someone very experienced, but this is what it is. Is there anything that I can suggest? Is there anything that, how can I make someone else's dialogue better? Do I need to say anything here? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's that person's scene. And that's about it. And you think, are we stretching too much? Can we also, to be as cost efficient as possible? I think one of my films where you're so happy. I think I was happiest not because I'm getting to go home early, but a 40-day schedule coming to a 33-day schedule is a massive thing.
Yeah.
So that means your prep has to be so strong. You have to go, even if you have a monologue or whatever it is. But I'm not someone who warms up with takes. I'm someone who comes prepared in the sense that this is it.
Okay.
So, and I discuss that with my team. I discuss that with my DOP. So because of the privilege I have had of working in home production with Dhoom, Dhaam and Article 370, I could accompany him for music sittings. I could see how it's happening. I don't have to say if I don't have an opinion. But if I have, and if that gets implemented, I don't have to say this to anyone.
Right.
But there's just a little happiness that, wow, such important people and such professional people, and if there's something that you have to contribute which makes things better, then you just feel, I just feel very happy. I just feel more participated. I feel a film is, while it's a director's medium, absolutely, but it's also a collaboration of different minds, and an idea can come from anywhere, from anyone. And I am someone who really enjoys participating. And that is what I think, and because he as a director really appreciates when an actor calls him or discusses with him or suggests something which, oh, that works even better. So, and I know what impact it can make to a film versus I'm just doing something and I'm just doing something what I'm supposed to do or what has been given to me. There's always a scope for improvement. There's always a scope of improvising till the very last breath on set, but provided your homework is correct. There's nothing, of course, your spontaneity also comes from the fact that your mind has it all somewhere running, and that is how it comes, I think, on set.
Yeah, I think that's why you're going to keep getting these strong woman roles. So, but it's been a great journey, and thank you so much for sharing a lot of it with me. It was kind of nice because I think I'm a strong believer in the fact that certain mileposts should be celebrated, like 10 years, 15 years. It's lasting is a big thing, and being around and I think it's even bigger when you finally come into your own at a certain point. It makes the journey so much sweeter, I think. Wo sabr ka phal, what they say.
Sabr ka phal.
Yeah, that's what they say. So
yeah. So no complaints.
No
I think
complaints.
it's still evolving, and there's still. I'm sure I have it. I know in my mind what I want to do, where I want to reach. I'll never put it out there and say this is what I want to do. This is where I see myself 5 years from now. But I do have an image in my head somewhere, an idea, and when that happens, of course, we'll again
Okay.
probably sit and have another
We'll have
conversation.
chat. Till then, I'll make another assumption about what that's going to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure talking to someone with a perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you.